Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Corps number 26, if I'm not mistaken. We will be reacting to number 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 3. We are halfway done with this show. I'm excited to talk about it. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson.
Hello.
Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm full of Culvers. It was Culvers.
I don't know what that is.
It's Midwestern. I think it's entirely skipped you geographically.
That's all it is. It is Midwestern distilled into
it's very Midwestern. It hails from Wisconsin. It's like a burger's frozen custard place.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. They have like fried cheese curds.
I gotcha.
It's craving those.
I'm full of just a cheeseburger. So that's that.
2 burger energies.
Indeed. Melissa, what did you think of episode 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
This was exciting. We finally got to some milestones we knew we were going to have in this series. We get to see some old friends and get introduced to a lot of new players.
Yeah, we sure did. I really enjoyed this one. This one felt to me a bit like the show didn't need to sell me. Like I've already been sold, and I think those first 2 were definitely trying to work themselves out in a way that's like, hey, we want you to stick around with this show. Here's why. And now by this 3rd one, I'm already just like, I am sold. You just keep telling me the story. I don't mind if it slows down a bit, but that's okay. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one a lot. Yeah, great stuff in this. And you know I loved the scene when they got to Madripoor, and it's all the neon lights and it's all cyberpunk looking. I'm just like, I love this aesthetic. It's not something we should be aspiring to, but it looks cool.
It does, and it's something we haven't seen in Earthbound MCU before. The only places we've been to that look like this are, the Guardians of the Galaxy out there in nowhere in Contraxia.
There is that one scene with Ronan.
Yeah. Yes.
So we can mention that, but yeah, not as much like cyberpunk hugging stuff, which you guys know that I love. But yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. So the first thing I want to talk about a bit is the Flagsmashers, because we didn't really talk about them last week when we were talking about number 2. So I want to mention them this week. What are your thoughts so far on the Flagsmashers? How are you feeling now that we're halfway done with the show?
I appreciate what a close-knit team they are. Like, they seem to really care about each other and have these very strong family bonds. And I think that's interesting in a nice comparison to Bucky and Sam, who maybe have more helpful agendas, things that try to have fewer consequences for other people. They're not blowing up buildings with people still inside of them, but they're arguing all the time, whereas Carly's blowing buildings up, but also like very tender with her friends.
For sure. Yeah, I've been very interested in them from the start. I still don't think we know much.
A lot to learn.
Yeah, which is what I was kind of talking about last week of like, I'm concerned that we're not going to be satisfied with all of these all of these ingredients that they're throwing in the pot, and they're not going to be like, not enough chocolate in this mix here, but I'm enjoying them. I like I forget the actress's name, but the one who is playing Harley,
Erin Kellyman.
Okay. I like that they are, or at least was starting to build them to be a more sympathetic group of characters than maybe we expected. And I liked where that was going, but then they kind of pull the rug underneath us in this one, and they blow up a building full of people. They were people that they were fighting / stealing from. So it's like, yeah, they are our enemies, but still just like, oh, like you were almost sympathetic and maybe now not so much. I don't know. I'm still just like, I don't know what to think yet exactly.
Yeah, and like they were stealing supplies from these people who, it was like a warehouse of supplies, and she took them, and she's got these, these guys all tied up on the floor. And like, I think before she leaves, one of them asks, why are you doing this? And she's like, there are people out there dying right now. Like, we need the supplies somewhere else right now.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we took them from the warehouse, which is a valid point. And then she kills that guy, and he can't pass along that message to anybody. Like, I know what she did was symbolically very powerful, but I feel like you didn't want that guy to like go talk to any of his colleagues about your issue.
I think in that moment she is maybe a little bit caught up in what she's doing. Like, that's the thing. I don't think she will end up being the villain or something. I mean, maybe, but like, I think that is the thing, is that they are supposed to be sympathetic characters. We are supposed to agree with them to an extent, right? Of like, hey, yeah, there are people out there that are struggling as a result of the blip, and these are actually people that are trying to take care of the people who need it most, not the I forget the organization name, the like GRC or the GCR.
Yeah, the Global Repatriation Committee Council.
Yeah, because the show starts with that, and it's this like, hey, we're all in it together. Let's build a new house. Like, let's build it. Let's do everything. It's community. And then the smash cut. It's like police, like, and there's Captain America, who's like, don't give them a second to delete or shred or breathe. And it's this kind of startling scene there. So yeah, I think we are supposed to like the Flagsmashers to an extent there. So, what did you think about John Walker? Because I just mentioned the start, and it starts out all happy, like, yeah, community. And then it's like, here is John Walker maybe crumbling under the pressure.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. I've been intrigued about this character and how he's clearly so antagonistic and framed as very antagonistic. But these glimpses we get into his life as John Walker, not, necessarily Captain America. He's very worried about living up to that role. Seems like he's very unsure of himself. And I think he definitely needs an attitude adjustment, but I'm hoping that at the end of the day, he's still a good guy who, in a different context, with that attitude adjustment, can become a trusted ally. I think he's got enough humility and do-gooderness in him that could be used for good. I hope so. I hope I don't sound really foolish by the time episode 6 ends. I'm like,
I
very,
think I have
very
to
flawed.
disagree with you there.
See, I know he's flawed. I'm not wiping away any of his flaws. I just see like just enough good in there that I'm like, I hope we can see that be fostered to grow and not be swallowed up by all of his flaws.
There's absolutely some room for him to get back on the sympathetic side by the end of this show. However, I don't think the show is going in that direction. I think we are starting to see him crack underneath all of the pressure, and I think he is. It's not just that he's taking this so seriously. I think he has the wrong view of what Captain America should be, and he is so focused and so single-minded on that. No, Captain America is this thing, and I think this show has done a very good job with addressing a lot of different themes and questions and all sorts of stuff without really saying it exactly. Because the vibe that I got from this specifically was all of the stuff that, or not all, but one of the things that we were protesting last year with all the Black Lives Matter stuff. Because a part of that was police brutality and this idea that, hey, the government and the police and all of these big organizations who should be keeping the peace are starting to abuse that power. And I think his version of Captain America is someone who reinforces that stuff of like, hey, I am here to reinforce the government. They are the ones in charge. Whereas Steve was almost the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I'm not here to reinforce what you do. I'm here to check you and to make sure you are doing the right thing. And I think John Walker just didn't really understand that, or he is so ingrained into another militaristic form of like, America, ooh rah, we are the ones that are on top and we have the power. And we'll see. Because, there is still some wiggle room with what they do with him right now. But that, I think, is the direction that they're going to go down, especially with Sam Wilson being a black character, with Isaiah Bradley being introduced, and now in this one with Wakanda being introduced. I guess reintroduced. It's not like it first happened.
I don't
here.
think he's going to be Captain America at the end of the series.
Agreed.
He's definitely going to step down from that role, perhaps of his own accord. Perhaps he's the one who says, I can't do this. I'm not the person you need in this role. I am crumbling under the pressure. I don't like my life like this anymore. I don't know, like the goal of the show is to better understand what Captain America has meant and will mean. And I hope that's something he gets to understand better, too, in addition to our protagonists.
Yeah.
I hope it's something everybody reaches by the end of the series.
Indeed. Sharon Carter. Let's go to her.
What an exciting return.
It was an exciting return. I really liked her in this.
Yeah.
I liked to dislike her in this. I think the way they took her character, all of it made sense. She kind of got the short end of the stick here, and she's basically suffered for it for potentially like 5 or 6 years now. And she's stuck there, and she's a little bit bitter and upset. And then we have that great line from Bucky, who's just like, "Oh, great, she's awful now." What did you think of her?
It did make her a lot more interesting to give her such a pessimistic outlook after what she's been through. I like Sharon.
Sure, same.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything particularly exciting about her on paper, but I like, Emily Van Camp's performance. And I think she gave a lot to that character. And this gives her like a lot more depth to play with. Yeah. And I think she's the perfect person to use as this example of somebody who can get into these situations and have that attitude. Because as a narrative, the MCU hasn't touched on her in years, since like 2015 or something.
Yeah,
she's been off the grid narratively. Yeah, so to have to pull her out and have her say, "No, I have been cut off." Like, not just the narrative hasn't visited me. I had to leave everything behind. I had to adopt a completely other lifestyle. And her attitude of, well, if I'm on the run, I might as well be a criminal. Like, who cares? Like, how can anything get worse? Who knows what justice is anymore? Yes, I will sell stolen paintings.
Yeah. Which there was her kind of final scene in this one where they leave the docks there, and she gets in this car. She seems like she has some kind of importance that we haven't really explored yet in this. And I know some people were out there thinking she may be the power broker, which I thought for a second too. I was like, I wonder, but I don't think she will be. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of her. I hope they use her more down the road. I would love to see her character come back in something beyond this show. Because they took someone who, like you said, is just very flat on paper. It's like, oh, okay, you're a relative of Agent Carter. that's about it. Like, that's who you are.
Mm.
And it is kind of tragic to see her in this position now of like, you're related to like some of our favorite MCU characters, and they are the ones that were like the most upstanding and the most like, you should mimic yourself after them. And here she is just being like, shit sucks. Like you like I got the bad end of things here. So
yeah,
good.
I
good
really
riddance.
liked the new characters we met this episode, and I was sad to see that both of them were immediately killed after one scene, which was Selby, who's the club owner, and Dr. Nagel, the scientist. He was fascinating.
Yeah, I
For
liked
the, like,
Nagel
6
a lot.
minutes we got to spend with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was interesting indeed. Because he did the thing where he like at times was the like nervous doctor, but then he had these like moments of clarity, like offer me a better deal. And it's just like, oh shit, you've been in situations like this before, haven't you? Like you know what you're doing here, but he's just like at the end of the day, bit the dust. Thanks, Zemo.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved the combination of him being the sort of typical like nervous scientist guy who like lives in a lab and doesn't see the outside world and is obsessed with his work. He's also very intense and very cunning.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked them. I'm fine that we're not really going to see much more of them. But that's also because we didn't see much of them. They're just like, okay, well, they're inconsequential, really. But yeah,
I don't know if I would have thought about those characters a whole lot after the series ended. But the fact that they were both killed like 5 minutes after we saw them, I'm like, we have to close the door on them that fast?
Right.
We don't even think they might show up in episode 4?
Well, I guess we can cross their names off the list. What about Zemo?
Interesting. I really like that he's like, yeah, I'm a baron. I haven't tried to explain. I love his ancient butler. I love how sweet he was with that butler. Like, you can tell that that's his Alfred. He grew up with that guy. He's so happy to see him again.
Funny you mentioned that. I am a bit of mixed feelings on that. Yes, his name is Baron Zemo. I'm fine that he is a baron. I don't necessarily like that he's rich, because now he's basically just evil Batman. And he has this butler, and he has all these cars and safe houses, and he knows all these people, and it's just like, that's not who you were in Civil War. Like, I'm fine if this is the version that they started with. Maybe not as interesting, but I still like him, especially in that mask. He looks damn good.
Yeah,
wear that mask
I love his
more.
coat.
His whole thing just looks great.
Very stylish.
But I think his older version was more interesting, and I think this is a step back.
Yeah, it is more
like
of a
because he is supposed to be a baron.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it is so different than what we saw in Civil War, but I guess nothing in Civil War like contradicts this. Like, yeah, this all could have been true. We never saw him go to his actual house at any point. We don't know his family except for his wife and child.
We know he was a
voicemail
Sokovian militant. But that is kind of it. They would we know he was involved in that stuff, but that seems so different from the Zemo that we got in this, where it seems like maybe his family is like this line of thieves or something, or they did get rich on the automobile industry or something. I know. I don't know. Like I both like it and don't. I feel like they either need to explain it better or pick one and stick with it. So
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that mask. Whew. That looks so good. I love that mask.
It's cool. Speaking of masks on powerful European guys, I was so excited for half a second when we saw that Global Repatriation Committee camp in Latvia, and I was like, I had to stop and Google it. I'm like, that's Latveria, Melissa. It's different.
I saw
They're
someone do the exact same thing of just like, that's where Doctor Doom is from. And they're just like, whoa, wait, what? No, Latvia's a real place. Latveria is the fake one where Doctor Doom is from.
I was like, what a way to world build. You just add that to the map and then you get to Doctor Doom himself as a character later.
They also then theorized of like, what if after Sokovia was destroyed and there was this big power vacuum in there and the whole, like, what if Doctor Doom comes in and rebuilds that?
What if Doctor Doom?
Like, yeah, right? What if Doctor, but Doom? And yeah, like that made sense because that's what they did with the Daredevil Netflix show is that within the like criminal underground in New York after the events of Avengers, there is this power struggle, and that's how Kingpin came up. So I'm wondering, hey, they could do something similar with Latveria there if they want to do that. It's an option. Think about it.
It is an option.
Yeah. Yeah. So beyond that, I definitely want to talk about this like final scene in this thing, which was a little bit strange that you just saw Bucky go full Winter Soldier in Madripoor, and then like the next day he's like, I'm gonna go off and do my own thing, and they're just like, all right, cool, and then they just walk off. Like it's a little strange of like, hey dude, maybe one of us should go with you just in case. Like we need an adult supervision here.
Yeah, all he says, like, he's not even going to like complete a task. It's not even like, I need to get us a car or we need to refuel. Like, I'm gonna go get us some
I'm just
food.
Gonna go get some fresh air. Huh.
Yeah, you just go. Okay. It's like, I need to go for a walk, and they're like, all right, Buck, we'll see you later.
It's a little bit strange, but yeah, he ends up finding, I forget what they're called exactly, but those like Wakandan beads.
Yeah, yes.
I didn't recognize them. I was like, what the hell are these things? It's beeping. What is going on?
I thought it was probably
super hearing.
I thought it was probably Wakandan, but then I thought, well, the only thing that identifies it to you as Wakandan is that it is a small bead. And frankly, after the end of Black Panther, when Wakanda kind of opened themselves to the world, maybe that inspired tech from somebody else. Somebody else is maybe. Like, we'll also make beads. Or just make them a circle so they look cool. Yeah.
High-tech beads. The latest craze.
Like, yeah, this could just be like a Wakandan imitator. We don't know.
Right, yeah. The Amazon knockoff. But yeah, so he starts following these beads and he goes back there, and I believe her name, I don't remember her name. I'm going to screw it up, but she is the one. She's basically like the first of the Dora Milaje that we saw and was T'Challa's bodyguard.
Yes, I remembered her.
Yeah. So I was absolutely surprised. I did not see that coming at all. What were your thoughts there?
I thought it was a great twist, and it makes a lot of sense. Like,
it does.
Bucky, somebody reminded us earlier this episode, Zemo did kill King T'Chaka. Mm-hmm. Remember that? And then frame Bucky for it. Bucky was a friend of the Wakandans, and I thought we might get back there. We might have some sort of a connection, but I thought it would be Bucky saying like, I think I know somebody back in Wakanda who can help us, and then he calls somebody or something like that. I wasn't expecting him to turn around in an alley and then there's Dora Milaje like right there.
Right, yeah. Was not expecting that at all.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm happy this is an element in the story that they're like, no, we also like, we don't want this. We don't want Baron Zemo around. Yeah. We're on the same case that you are.
Yeah. So I do have to give a little bit of credit. There is a theory that is now floating around there that I think makes a lot of sense. I heard this on the new Rockstars, and they are thinking that maybe the super soldier serum is related to Wakanda in the sense that they're like heart-shaped
Oh.
also kind of gives Black Panther those powers. Captain America's shield is also made of vibranium, so they would have had to go there to get the metal to make the shield or something. So maybe that was the difference, that hey, we tried it on Red Skull, and well, now he has a red skull, and that didn't work. But maybe it was
that's why he has a red skull,
because their super soldier serum screwed up. Yeah. And then they got it right with Steve, and it might be that heart-shaped herb or something related to that. That is why it worked. But I want to say, like, tip of the hat to New Rockstars, because that kind of backs up what I was thinking last week. With my whole idea of like, hey, I think the show started out making us think it was more about like, what is Steve's legacy? What is the legacy of Captain America? And the question is maybe shifting to, or the idea of the show is maybe shifting to, I don't think it was ever his legacy to give. Like, this may be a Wakandan thing. Like, the super soldier serum might be more directly related to Wakanda, and then Isaiah Bradley being a Black man, I don't think he's related to Wakanda in the sense that like he had a parent or something like that. I don't think that, but just the fact that like, hey, this is an African thing. This is an African American thing. Like, this is a Black thing that needs to be in the hands of someone who knows that experience and can represent that. And which is why I was like, what if Steve in this alternate universe figured that out, or like met Isaiah, or did all that, like somehow figured it out, like, oh, like this is why Sam needs to be the one to do this. Or who knows? I also heard people being like, what if Eli is the one at the end of this, takes up the shield as Patriot instead? I'm not sure, but like I think that theory really fits and really makes sense in a way that's like, these are the themes. That does make sense. Okay, interesting. So
that would tie everything together up pretty nicely. I think those are all very solid theories.
Yeah.
Speaking of, this is a little off topic, but speaking of heirs to this Captain America title, is America Chavez related to this line of superhero legacy, or is her name just America?
Her name is America, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because I think I've seen her with like stars on her outfit and like some red, white, and blue, and I didn't know if she was a Captain America variant. Okay.
No, she's not related to the Captain America family, but she can punch holes through universes. So
Steve can't do that.
Nope, Steve cannot do
None
that.
of them can.
Nope. So, oh well. Next thing I want to ask, and I guess last thing is, do you have any other kind of predictions of what's going to happen in the second half of the show? Do you think Thunderbolt Ross is going to make an appearance?
Oh, yes!
What's going on there? Because a lot of people, because he is very heavily involved with the super soldier serum. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
What are you thinking for the second half of this show?
I don't know. I think I'm thinking back to like the bits we've seen in the trailers, and I think we've hit a lot of the major checkpoints I knew I had to look forward to. Like Zemo's back, Sharon's back. They're going to Madripoor. I don't know what else is left, to reveal itself that we already knew was coming in some form. I hope we're going to end with something positive. I hope everybody learns and grows by the end of this series. Like talking about John Walker, like I'm certain he will leave the title. He may even die. I just hope he has a moment where he's like, I haven't had the right attitude about this. I would like to do better. And if immediately after saying that he gets hit by a bullet or something, at least he had that, that moment's all I'd really like. I hope this does end on a more positive foot for the world at large. Like another theme throughout this is
True.
how the world is dealing with the aftermath of the blip, which is a major problem. And talking about the Global Repatriation Committee, I'm certain like they have good intentions. They are doing a lot of good work. I'm certain they really did go build that house, but it's just a problem so much bigger than them. There are going to be holes. There are going to be things that they don't see, that they can't get to, that they can't manage. And I hope that this story ends with a better version of that, a better Global Repatriation Committee that works harder and can catch all the little people that have been falling through the cracks. I don't know the next title that would really have an opportunity to focus on this concept. Loki's jumping throughout time and space. I suppose it could be Miss Marvel or She-Hulk, certainly. I hope that we get off on a good footing with how just the normal citizen of the world could be living. Yeah. Hope this gives us a little bit of peace of mind about just average Joe out there in the Marvel Earth.
Yeah. I know that episode 5, there is another one of those like, hey, there's going to be a cameo. But I think the creators have tried to temper expectations. I mean, like, it's not going to be, well, you know, some big like, oh my God, they like, it's a hologram of Chadwick Boseman, which would be a terrible idea. But
yeah.
It's not going to be something that big. They've said it's a very grounded character that will be showing up. They said,
oh yeah,
episode 5 will be very emotional. So I don't know if it's going to be old Steve. I don't know if it's going to be a character dying, or what. Who knows? But yeah, I think we still don't know much about the power broker. I hope in this next one, in number 4, I hope we find out who it is. Or at least are like is just about to get the big reveal, and that happens in number 5, and then there's like the start of the confrontation, and then they wrap that up in 6 and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this show goes. Indeed, I do also want to point out that this episode in particular was written by the guy that wrote the first 3 John Wick movies. Which is why so many people have been like, this reminded me a lot of John Wick. It's like, yeah, because he wrote this one. So yeah, I loved the action in this. It's so good. So good. Those fight scenes.
This was a really fun one.
Sharon Carter was destroying those fools. It was great. It was great. It was good. So.
Also, I want to say everybody's outfits were great in this episode. We talked about Zemo specifically, but like Sam looks great in a turtleneck.
There you go.
I liked Sharon's little, notch-necked shirt. Everyone was looking good.
Apparently, that outfit that Sam is in and his whole thing is a nod to his like original comic book origin, who I don't really know anything about. I also have heard that it is very problematic. But apparently that's a nod to that. So there you go. You guys can go look that stuff up. Yeah. A little bit of housekeeping for you guys. We already did our reactions to WandaVision, so you guys can go check that stuff out as well. But we actually have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts, so you guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts, and all of our shows will pop up right there. And if you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have a $3 tier that you guys can get all sorts of exclusive content on, and we'd like to give a big shout out to our $5 Patreon supporters. So thank you, Sam, so much.
Thanks, Sam.
We appreciate it a lot for helping us keep the mics on. It means a lot. You guys can also support us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thewhatnauts. We are usually live streaming these reactions each Friday at 8:30 p.m. We'll be here for the next couple weeks, and then we do our podcast, The Captain's Log, immediately after that. We also like to play some video games on there, so come check us out with that. But with that, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you feel like only you remember. Our latest episode should be about Jackie Chan Adventures, I think.
Awesome.
Which is an episode we're doing, taking a look at a TV show everybody remembers. This
there
is
you go.
a non-obscure, a popular, a Saturday morning popular.
That's weird. I thought I was the only one that remembered that show.
I thought I made up Jackie Chan.
He's real? You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. If you guys want to stay up to date with our shows, we are at the Whatnauts. So go like, share, and subscribe. You guys know how to do all of that stuff. We will be back next week with our reactions to episode 4. So be on the lookout for that one. We will see you all then. Bye.
Bye.